And you said your father was a founder, an entrepreneur hustling away. What was his company?
This company is called NBS, and they are an ERP for dealerships, uh, cars. And so the thing was when he married my mom, which I was an accident, by the way, then they kind of had to get married, right? That's how it went. And my grandfather, the one who had the farm, my mom's father, he had the first uh, Chevrolet dealership in Brazil, in Kansas, right? And and my father was an engineer. He was an engineer, and he had learned a thing or two about software development early on. And when he got married to my mom, he saw that the dealership had little to no software helping the process, making things run smoothly. It was uh, very much done by hand. Right? And saw an opportunity there, like I probably should build a software here. So the funny thing is, he did everything that we read not to do. Right? He didn't make an MVP. He didn't validate the market or analyze the total addressable market and so and so. He's just like, oh, this looks like it could use some software, and then he locked himself in house and did it. Yeah, my grandfather had a dealership, and then he saw it, and he saw it was very manual, very much by hand, right? And everything was in pieces of paper spread all over the place. And he used to be a state programmer for the state's telephone company. He would pretty much, in his words, he's like, I could. He was the like default state worker. Like I can do my job in like 2 hours, and then I have the other six to myself. And then he, what he did, he used his 6 hours to just start programming because he was done. There's not a lot to do. And then it was during that time, and then when he got home until very late in the night, he developed the software, the first version. It was the first software. He didn't know any of that. He didn't do any research, but he was the first software that was Windows based, which at the time meant mouse, right? And everything else was COBOL, right?
DOS.
DOS. So it was
COBOL.
very old school. And he was the first one that you actually had nice looking windows, or you could click on stuff and like it was nice looking, right? And unaware of that, he just sold the first one to his father-in-law, my grandfather, and then he's like, "Oh, this works." He was the pilot, right? This works. I'm gonna try to sell to more people, and then it just he had a product market fit.
It was a family enterprise trial, basically.
Exactly. And then even my grandfather was like, "Nah, that's not gonna work. Nah, that's who needs software?" And then he changed his mind these days. But, and then
So it's interesting then. So your dad was a developer, and then um, what is your relationship with your father, and how that impact you in terms of the coming of a founder, basically? So I certainly um, my view is that ultimately all inevitable founders, inevitable people in general, it comes from within, and you have to really fix yourself before you can actually add value to the rest of the world. And usually that happens when you are by yourself, walking in nature, or meditating, or really like just reflecting upon your life in a calm manner.
mhm.
So it doesn't happen when you're looking at screens in general.
No,
Since we've only been doing that for the last, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 years and we've been around for a long time as humans. But I'd love to just learn more about like your relationship with your father and how that impacted you then, from an early age, because it's rare to have someone as your like that just like creates a software to solve a problem, like like it's your maybe your father could go to a Y Combinator these days.
yeah, no, he was very much a uh, Wild West entrepreneur. Like there were no books explaining how you're supposed to be doing it. Entrepreneurs were not even a good thing to be at the time. You're just crazy, right? No, not a cool crazy, just insane crazy. Like just get a job, like that kind of thing was way stronger back then. And they say, I read somewhere that you either are exactly like your parents or the exact opposite, right? And me and my father, we get along very well. We talk a lot, but I'm his opposite in a million ways. Like he's loud, like Italian loud, extroverted, and like a people person, and then like just doesn't mind what he's saying, just like says whatever is on his head, to anybody, and very out there. And I've always been a quiet kid. Like I'm very much more introverted. I make myself extroverted for out of necessity in moments that I have to be. But I'm mostly like being in the house by myself. I like reading. I like spending time with my family. I'm not a natural salesperson. Like he can sell you anything. Like for me to sell something, I have to really put an effort to it. For him, it's just like drinking water and breathing air, and which was something that was interesting to me because I've always had entrepreneurs in the family. Not only him, but my mom's father, my grandfather. He had a dealership and he had a lot of other businesses before. So I had all these examples of people that were doing business, and they never seemed like a hard thing to do. I didn't see them as both of them as particularly extraordinary people. Like they're just guys with balls doing their thing. Like I'm just
It was normal, right? Yeah, there were that was the reality that you were inserted in,
yeah.
right? Like everyone around me is a founder versus
Like nobody would boast about it. Like I'm a founder of a technology company. I think he just realized that he's a founder of a technology company like recently. For him, it was just him doing his thing. Like I had to do something else. I was poor, and that was what was nice for me, and what was a little unsettling for just was they were both, although not blood related, they're both um, people, right? They like talking, they're very extroverted, and I was more like a generation before, which was more introverted. And I would think that would hinge me. I made a lot of, I worked hard to learn how to be more extroverted like that because I thought that was something that was going to hold me back. So I read on social dynamics and like uh, pick up artists and all the kind of things that make you like more out there, right? And which did all help, uh, but I came to terms with it after when like there's more to it than just selling, which I love, in a more scientific way than the just selling itself. But there's more to it than just the selling, which was this contact which I was so inserted in.